Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. So, I am doing something new today. If you are on my personal Facebook page, you're probably like, what the hell is happening? So, I decided, very spur of the moment, I didn't even tell Team Brave I was going to do this. Every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central, I do a live show that's called Brave in Action. And I do the show in my Brave on Purpose Facebook group and also on my YouTube channel live. And I never do it publicly or for my friends or people on my personal page. And I decided today to just show you all kind of like what I do once a week. This is usually a very small session. I drop a little bit of knowledge about one very specific topic, and I talk for 10 to maybe 20 minutes, depending on what kind of engagement we have. So, hi, welcome everyone. I'm so happy to have all of you here with me. For those of you who don't actually know me, my name is Heather Vickery. I'm a success and leadership coach, and Brave is my business. I'm the executive producer and host of the Brave Files podcast. I'm the creator of the Intentionally Brave Entrepreneurs program and the Brave on Purpose collective, which is where most of you are used to seeing me. If you're interested in joining the collective, it's free. It's for anybody who is ready to say F fearless, right? I'm going to embrace the fear and do it anyway and make that brave leap into whatever it is that you want to do. You want to write the book, you want to start the business, you want to have the hard question, you want to get married, you want to get divorced, you want to do whatever. Whatever it is that you want to do, we can help you do that in Brave on Purpose. It's an amazing, amazing community of people. So why are we talking today? What is today's Brave in Action topic? We are talking about learning today, and specifically the difference between distraction learning and expansion learning. So just to give you a little bit more background information, my coaching method, what I have used for myself for 23 years of entrepreneurship, and as I went out of the events industry and fully into coaching, speaking, and writing, and also what I use to support hundreds and hundreds of other clients on a consistent basis, is the BRAVE method. Well, BRAVE stands for boundaries, reassessment, reframing, resilience. We call those the 3 R's: action and accountability, vulnerability, and expand and empower. So 5 steps, but really there's a lot of steps. And it's something that I personally use on a day-to-day basis, sometimes multiple times a day. All of my clients can tell you that the BRAVE method, we see it, it works personally, it works professionally, it works in relationships and parenting, anything you can think of. And learning is a huge component. We talk about learning your habits and your patterns, being aware of how you move through the world, and if that's helping you get closer to your goals and dreams, or if it's not helping you get closer to your goals and dreams. We talk about learning via reassessment and reframing. We talk about learning and how to have better systems for communication and setting better, stronger boundaries. But specifically today, I want to talk about learning as far as expanding your mind and your knowledge field specifically. I am a big believer in learning. Some of the most famous, wealthiest people in the world spend a good portion of their day, Warren Buffett comes to mind, learning, whether that's via reading or watching a webinar, which isn't my favorite thing to do, or listening to a podcast, which I love to do. I'm a big reader. I like audiobooks. I like reading paper books. And conversations, learning in that way, getting to network and connect with people that I wouldn't otherwise, and who know things that I don't know, who can share with me and teach me things, which is so very impactful and incredible. But sometimes learning can be a distraction, and we want to talk about what the difference is. So to be an expansion learner, to expand via your learning, you want that learning to be very intentionally placed in your life. So being thoughtful about what and how you're learning and how you're doing that. So for example, in the last couple of years, my reading has changed my life drastically. For those of you who know this story already, bear with me for a second. But a few years ago, a woman that I interviewed on my podcast, Casey Marie, in case you're watching, hey, Casey, invited me to do the 12 books in 12 months challenge. And that was something very simple. Take 12 books that have been collecting dust on your bookshelf and commit to reading one a month for the next year, 12 books, 12 months. And my initial reaction was, hell no, like there's no way. I haven't read 12 pages in the last 12 years. How in the world am I supposed to read 12 books? It's crazy. and I pushed it away. But somehow deep in my gut, in my soul, it kept coming back to me. Reading. I love reading. I loved learning. It's my favorite thing about college was I got to learn what I wanted to learn versus high school where I had to learn what everybody told me to learn. And I thought, gosh, I miss reading. I'd like to read more. And then right about that time, again, I think this was in 2019, Obama released hey, Jared. Jared likes my office space because Jared built it. Nice to see you here, friend. Barack Obama dropped the best 50 books he'd read in a year, and he'd read way more than 50. Those were just his favorite 50. And I'm like, man, if a guy like Barack Obama can read 50 books in a year and then some, can I read 12? Certainly I can read 12. And I just felt called to it. So I decided to do it. But I knew in order to hold myself accountable for doing it, I would have to do a couple things. The first thing is I would have to declare to the world, I'm doing this, hold me accountable for it. I would need to, at that time, pick the books that I was going to read. And then I had to commit to a system that would allow me to read. So there were two main systems that I committed to. One was that I would schedule 15 minutes in my workday every day just for reading. And the other one was I would keep my book with me at all times. And if I had a few minutes to kill here or there at any time throughout my day or my evening or my weekend, rather than doom scrolling on social media, I would pick up my book and read a page or two. See, I had this limiting voice. I had this story I told myself that if I didn't have hours set aside to read, that I couldn't possibly do it. I couldn't possibly pick up a book. I couldn't get through it. Even from a listening standpoint, couldn't do it. That's total BS, friends, right? So you put systems in place to achieve your goals. Well, that very first year, I didn't read 12 books. I read 36 books. And then last year, I read 56 books, which was amazing. And so what shifted between 2019 and 2020 is that, I realized I could. I sharpened my skills. I read a little bit quicker. Also, I started doing a combination, actually three different books of a business, personal growth, social justice activism, something that felt in that range for me was for daytime reading. I would read a pleasure book, a fiction book for fun in the evening and on the weekends. And then I would listen to an audiobook. I tend to prefer memoirs on an audiobook. For whatever reason, I can't do fiction. And with business books or personal growth books, I like to make notes, things like that. But I would do an audiobook as well so that when I'm in the shower, doing the dishes, if I want to have the silence or the solitude, I can, but I could also listen. If I'm in the car, I listen. And it was amazing. Now, the pandemic hit, as you all know, throws everything off, right? The pandemic hit and I couldn't read for quite a while, a couple of months, March, April, May. I couldn't read. It was really stressful. Mind you, I just told you I read 56 books last year. Now, you don't need to hold yourself to that standard. You could read 2 if you haven't read any. That could be amazing. Or listening to new podcasts or just having conversations. Learning can be a lot of things. But I decided that I was going to let go of all of the boundaries and the rules I'd set for myself. And I was just going to read for fun. And that book that I grabbed happened to be The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which is a really great book. And I allowed myself to take a bath in the middle of the day, at night, whenever I wanted, and to just read at a slow pace. But I got into it again and I picked all of that back up, and it was really impactful. Distraction learning means that you aren't intentional about what you're learning and when you're learning it, right? How many of you have distraction learning, as in you have a little bit of a habit of signing up for people's webinars or programs over and over and over again, and you either go to them and don't do other stuff, or then don't take action on them afterwards, or you don't go to them and you're sort of annoyed and frustrated that you're getting these reminders and you knew in the beginning you were never going to have time to take this class or follow this webinar or do whatever, and then you feel bad about it. Those sorts of things set us up for failure. Those sorts of things make us feel bad. And my job is to help you make decisions and choices that will help you feel good. We want to set you up for success. You can ask any of my clients. We end all of our coaching sessions by making commitments. And I want those commitments to be small, intentional, actionable commitments, things that you can and will do. So we're not going to say, I'm going to read a book in the next 4 days. I'm going to read the whole book. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. You're going to say, I'm going to read the first chapter, or I'm going to read 10 pages, or whatever it is that's really achievable and feasible for you. Because often once we get in and we start moving, we can do more of that. So how do you recognize when you're distancing yourself from your dreams is that you're spending so much time doing all of these other things that aren't pushing you closer to your goals and your dreams, and to having a life and a business that you love in every possible way, that brings your future vision to the here and now. And that's something that is so wildly important. This book that I just showed you, I always have a book with me. It's called The Art of Possibility. A couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago now, I shared a video by Benjamin Zander. I'm going to put it in the comments because if you haven't watched it, I want everybody to watch it. I watch it repeatedly all week long. And George Lopez is here. Hi, George. I think I might have even mentioned the video on your podcast, which I was a guest on earlier this week. That link is, I can put that link up here as well for you all. I love his approach to everything. He essentially talks about living in the possibility, not taking yourself too seriously, and understanding that everything's a construct. Everything is invented. So why not invent what you want to be the truth? If you want to learn, if learning helps you achieve your dreams and your goals, then stop telling yourself that you can't for whatever reason. You're not too busy. You just don't prioritize it. I will tell you, even my 16-year-old daughter will say to me things like, it's not that I can't do that. I'm not prioritizing that. Ding, 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 right? Where's her yay me flag, which I am about to send out to all of my intentionally brave entrepreneurs. I want a yay me flag to celebrate when shit deserves to be celebrated, right? We're not saying no because we can't to whatever it is we're saying no to. We're saying no because we're not prioritizing it. And that's fine. We don't have to prioritize everything. We can't prioritize everything. But what I don't want you to do is bullshit yourself into thinking you can't or you don't have time. You can restructure. I had plenty of time to read. One of the things that I had to let go of, I chose to let go of, because I don't have to do anything, as my mother would say, except pay taxes and die. Hey, Mom. One of the things that I let go of was the idea of pre-selecting the books that I was going to read. So I told you I picked 12 books in 2019. I think I actually read maybe 6 of those 12, even though I read 36 books, because I just wasn't in the mood for some of them, or other things came up and got me excited. In 2020, I picked 24 books because I knew I was going to do a personal growth business book during the day and a book for pleasure fiction in the evening. But I hand selected those books from books that I already had, but then I would buy new books because, as my daughter is quick to remind me, reading and buying books are 2 very different things. And I love to buy books. I'd be into them. I want to check them out. And then I would feel bad that I wasn't actually checking things off of the list that I said I was going to do. And yet I was excelling in so many different ways, right? So there was a distraction there because it was somehow limiting me that I wasn't doing this thing that I'd said I was going to do, even though I was flourishing in another way. It was dampening my energy and my spirit there. So here this year for 2021, I just simply committed to 60 books. And I know that during the day, during the week, I'm going to read something that's self-development, social justice oriented, business book, any of that stuff. I love doing those things. Why do I love doing them? Because I practice what I preach. I love going back to all of my clients, to my intentionally brave entrepreneurs, to my folks in Brave on Purpose, and sharing with them what I'm learning. Look, we're all on the journey, and I may be slightly ahead of where you are, but we're all on the journey. And in some ways, you're probably ahead of me, and I want to learn from you. I want to grow together, and I want to expand together. This all comes from being intentional, asking for what you want, very thoughtfully. The late, great Maya Angelou, ask for what you want and be prepared to get it. And then the Heatherism that I add to that is ask specifically for what you want. Because if you do not ask specifically, you may get what you want in a way that you do not want it. Maybe you'll get rich, but you'll lose all your friends. Maybe you'll get the car of your dreams, but you'll be in debt for the rest of your life. We want to be specific about what we want, right? And how you want to get there. And that's super, super important. Hey, Rebecca, welcome. So I want you to think about how you're learning, what you're learning. Are you enjoying it? Are you spending your time doing the things that will actually move you forward in your life, in your business, towards your dreams? Or are you using it as an excuse to be distracted from the things that can get you there? And if you're using it as an excuse to be distracted, that begs the question, and I love this question, what are you afraid of? Why are you allowing distraction to win? Because there's something in the putting your head down and doing the work and being scared and doing it anyway that you're so afraid of pursuing that you're letting all the other bullshit get in the way. And then you say, oh, I don't have time, I can't. Not true. You do have time and you can if you want to, if you prioritize it. You have a choice. The choice is yours. One of the things that just came up in this book, and then I promptly asked my folks in the Brave on Purpose group about it because I thought it was so impactful, is what would have to change for you to be completely fulfilled in your life? Sit with that for a second. When we're talking about expanding, we want to ask those types of questions. We talk about learning about ourselves, learning about our target client, learning about our loved ones, our family, our friends. When we want to learn new things, we have to know what would have to change to actually be fulfilled so that we can then do those things, so that we can speak our truths and we can be authentic as we step up into that space. How we recognize the difference between distraction and expansion comes from slowing down, being intentional, and really applying the BRAVE method, specifically in this case, the 3 R's: reassessment, reframing, and resilience. And then not bullshitting yourself. Be honest. Look, sometimes we get distracted and we want to be distracted and we want to avoid all the things. And for a hot minute, that's okay. I do that too. I told you I did it at the beginning of the pandemic last year when I just decided to read fiction and sit in the bathtub all day long. True story, not making that up, right? I want you all to think about how you're doing that and to bring that into your life in some little way. Remember, small intentional baby steps where you're deeply committed to following through. And I like to keep those commitments really short. Rebecca Q is here. She's a member of my IBE program. And she knows the commitments are just week to week. What are you committing to this week? What's your sprint? What do you need to work through? And sometimes those are personal. Sometimes they're professional. Sometimes they're family. All of those things are okay. Short term, that you can reassess. Did I do this commitment? How did it feel? Did it get me anywhere that I wanted to go? Do I want to keep it, change it, get rid of it, right? Learning is the same thing, and being really in tune and in touch with yourself is very much aligned with that. So I am excited. I actually want to let you all know, if you don't already know, that I have a workshop. The Brave Method workshop is coming up here in just a couple of weeks. Rob Blair, who I actually went to high school with, said Golden Girls and swaddling me in my comforter on the bed, right? Yes, I feel all of that. The Brave Method workshop is coming up on March 16th. It's the 16th to the 24th, 1 p.m. Central every day, where I take my Brave Method and I teach it. And it's all free. And then we do hands-on work. It's very interactive. There's a full workbook with it. Rebecca's been, I think, 4 or 5 times, which is super, super cool. Lots of folks are coming back for multiple times. Why do they come back multiple times? Well, they do it because we're different every time. Our lived experience has changed every time. You show up as a different person in this space every time. I teach it differently every time because I'm different every time. But it's such a fun week. It's 9 days. It's completely free, but interactive, exciting. You build amazing networking, community, and connection. So I would love to invite you all to that. You can register. You have to register to get the information, vickeryandco.com/workshop. And while I do not normally do all of this business pitch on my personal page, I thought it would just be fun to pop in and show you all a little bit of what I do on a consistent and regular basis. I show up every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central into Brave on Purpose, and I do a live show called Brave in Action. That's what you have been experiencing right now. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope even if you got one thing that kind of sparked you with a little joy or a little excitement or made you think deeper or get excited about committing to something or learning something about yourself, I'd love to know what it is. Share it with me. Come and hang out with us in Brave on Purpose. You're already in Facebook for most part, unless you're watching on YouTube Live. Then you can just search Brave on Purpose, answer 3 little questions, agree to the group rules, which basically the group rules just say, don't be a dick. We're going to be nice to each other. We are all about positive energy. There will be no toleration of any sort of hurt, harmfulness, It's a really lovely group. It's a really happy place to be. And it's a lovely community, a supportive community. Come hang out with us there. Register for the Brave Method Workshop, March 16th to the 24th, and bring some friends along. It's going to be amazing. Also, I do part of that in this beautiful studio that Jared Spears actually built out for us. I love this space, Jared. I don't know if I've told you how grateful I am for it, but I'm remarkably grateful for it. Also, it's the sunniest spot in our house. And in the mornings, when I have the time, I come and I seek out the sunspot and I just lay in it and I feel like a little plant that's going to grow, 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 grow. Yep, life is a practice, not a destination. Rob's got that right. So there's so much to it. I thank you for humoring me and showing up in this space. If you are already in Brave on Purpose, I love seeing you every Wednesday. I love connecting with you consistently. If you want to chat with me in more detail, I invite you to join me for a virtual coffee date. So hit me up, send me a DM if you'd like to do that. We can get that on the books. Again, registration is open for the Brave Method Workshop right now, vickeryandco.com/workshop. And tomorrow I drop a brand new episode of the Brave Files podcast with my friend Jen Grace. Jen Grace, holla if you're here. Hello, I know you're in Brave on Purpose and a friend on Facebook. It is a fantastic conversation that's absolutely hilarious. You're going to be surprised. You're going to laugh. You're going to connect. I'm really excited to share it with you. We talk a lot about vulnerability and authenticity, but also Jen shares a way that she celebrates that I'd never anticipated. And it's one of my favorite things that I've ever experienced on the podcast before. So go and check that out tomorrow. Let me know what y'all are up to. What are you reading? How are you learning? How are you being intentional about it? I want to hear all the things. So thank you. Happy Wednesday. I will see everyone in Brave on Purpose and YouTube live next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Central. I will not do it live on my Facebook page. So if you want to come and hang out, you want to see what next week's Brave in Action live show is about, you got to join Brave on Purpose, which you are invited to do right now. So this is Heather Vickery, thanking you for being here with me and reminding you today and every single day to go out and choose bravely. And thanks for letting me be on the journey with you. Bye, friends.